Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, again, we thank you for this day and for your love, your mercy, and your grace. And as always, Father, we know that when we open your word or when we look at health messages, spiritual battles will begin. So we just pray for the presence of your Holy Spirit to open our hearts and minds to teach us what you want us to learn. May we hear only the truth. May we have a heart that wants to share it with others. In Jesus' name, amen. Diet, disease, physical, mental, and spiritual. Tonight is on sugar. Sugar is one of the most probably misunderstood foods. We don't think of it as a bad food per se. But you're going to learn tonight how bad sugar is and what it does to us physically, mentally. And when our physical and mental is affected, so isn't our spiritual. Health is like that. When one suffers, the other suffers to some degree. Some things hurt more than others. But the food we put in our mouth, the chemicals we put in our body have a lot to do with where we are mentally, physically, and spiritually. So we'll see that tonight. We'll run through a few things. Again, 3 John 2 is our standard text because it shows us how much the Lord loves us and that it is his desire for us to be healthy. 3 John 2 says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospereth." Hippocrates was wise 2,000 years ago. It says, "Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food." And again, as we study the health and society and the science and everything, we'll see how powerful food really is for our body, how it cures so many diseases and stuff. We have a hard time believing that, but this is the very truth. There's no in-between. Every bite we take is doing one of two things. It's either fighting disease or it's feeding a disease. Again, the trouble with health is that it's accumulative. It doesn't happen instantly. So people eat things or drink things and think, I'm okay. It's not hurting me. But it is hurting. So when we understand what something is doing to our body, be it caffeine, alcohol, whatever subject we want to take, then we understand what's going on inside of our body. Then we need to make a choice. Because knowledge is power and education is knowledge. The Journal of American Medical Association study concluded that sugar intake significantly contributes to ill health and specifically increases cholesterol levels. A lot of people aren't familiar with that. And we're going to see just some of the 143 side effects of what sugar does to our body. People are shocked. Again, most people don't realize how much they're taking in. 156 pounds. That's how much added sugar Americans consume each year on a per capita basis, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Now, I don't have a 5-pound bag, but here's a 4-pound bag. So that's statistics. That means the average American is putting 39 of these bags of sugar in their body every year. People, and not just people on the standard American diet. The sad part is that only 28% of it is what they know they're putting in their body. All the rest is hidden in foods and all types of things. And it comes under so many different names now, so it tricks people. Just a long list of that. Suicide by sugar. I'm going to go through these quick. Again, I have it on print for those that are here. We can get it on the net if people want it. But I want you to see the big picture of what sugar actually does to our body. It's a very serious problem. In fact, sugar right now is the #1 cause of cirrhosis of the liver in this country. It's not alcohol like people think. It used to be alcohol. But I'll go through these quick just to give you the big picture, not for you to memorize them, but you get the idea this is not a good product. Sugar can suppress your immune system, upsets the mineral relationships in the body, elevate glucose and insulin responses, causes decline in tissue elasticity and functions, which is real crucial as we get older because arteries tend to get harder and we have circulation problems. Causes copper deficiency, can cause premature aging, lead to obesity, cause gallstones, food allergies, toxemia during pregnancy, lowers enzymes' ability to function, can increase kidney size and produce pathological changes in the kidney. Number one enemy of the bowel movement. Plays a role in pancreatic cancer in women. Can cause depression. Big time on depression. Contribute to Alzheimer's disease. An addictive substance. A risk factor for lung cancer. Dehydrates newborns. Risk of breast, small intestine, ovarian cancer, stomach, and prostate cancer. Sugar upsets the mineral relationships in your body, causes chromium and copper deficiencies, and interferes with absorption of calcium and magnesium. And when we have copper deficiencies, when I worked at a mental health hospital, several of these people were misdiagnosed, and people think that they have Wilson's disease, when they have copper deficiency, it imitates other diseases, and so people think they have Wilson's disease or this disease, and all it was a little copper deficiency. But if we think that it's ALS or Huntington's chorea, we treat it medically for that. So people were being treated for something they didn't have. That's what copper deficiencies can do. Can cause a rapid rise of adrenaline, hyperactivity, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, crankiness in children, can produce a significant rise in total cholesterol, triglycerides, and bad cholesterol, and a decrease in the good cholesterol, which is our LDL. Feeds cancer cells, been connected with the development of cancer of the breast, ovaries, the prostate again, the rectum, pancreas, biliary, lung, gallbladder, and stomach. Can weaken eyesight, cause many problems with the gastrointestinal tract, including an acidic digestive tract, indigestion, malabsorption in patients with functional bowel disease, increased risk of Crohn's disease. Ulcerative colitis can cause autoimmune disease such as arthritis, asthma, multiple sclerosis, greatly assisted uncontrolled growth of Canadian albicans, yeast infections. You get in the big picture, there's a lot of stuff connected with sugar, and this is stuff that's been proven scientifically. This isn't guesswork or somebody's anti-sugar. It's just not a good product. It was never meant to be put in our bodies. Can cause varicose veins, lower your vitamin E levels, interfere with your absorption of protein, causes food allergies, toxemia during pregnancy, can cause atherosclerosis and cardiovascular disease, impair the structure of your DNA, make your skin age by changing the structure of collagen, cause cataracts and nearsightedness, lowers the ability of enzymes to function. Sugar intake is higher in people with Parkinson's disease. Increase the size of your liver, and it can increase the amount of liver fat, can increase kidney size, damage your pancreas. Enemy number one of your bowel movement. Headaches, including migraines, can alter your mind's ability to think clearly, cause depression, is an addictive substance, can worsen the symptoms of ADHD. High sugar intake can cause epileptic seizures, causes high blood pressure in obese people, dehydrates newborns. So what's so harmful about sodas and sugary drinks? And that's part of 143. It's just amazing how we're deceived and how much sugar is used in our industry. And we know for a fact scientifically, and I recommend everybody to watch a 12-minute video on the YouTube called The Science of Addictive Foods. And you will see how they have perfected how much fat, sugar, and salt to put in products to make you crave more and desire that and eat more, and then it adds to all these problems. Again, the trouble with health is it takes time. It's not like you eat a bag of potato chips and all of a sudden you got cancer or heart disease. A lot of cancer cells take about 12 years to start producing, and then they multiply. There's exceptions in different types of cancer. So it's just like smoking. People say, well, I don't have lung cancer or throat cancer or whatever. Well, how many cigarettes does it take to get there? How many drinks does it take to become an alcoholic? But if we drink enough, we're going to be an alcoholic. But that takes time. A person doesn't drink a glass of wine or a can of beer and be an alcoholic. Same with food. The trouble is with the sugar, so much is hidden People out there are trying to eat healthier and don't realize that a lot of the stuff they're eating is loaded with sugar because it's under different names. So here's a short little video that's going to teach us a little bit more about that.
Ask just about any American. Hearing these soda sounds is synonymous with satisfaction.
I just think, oh, that's going to be good. Like, that sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
And everyone has a favorite.
I love Coca-Cola.
Whether it's sodas, sweet teas, or sports drinks, our love affair with sugar-loaded thirst quenchers isn't really seen as a problem to the average beverage consumer.
I never even really worry about it, to be honest. I just drink whatever tastes good.
People know drinking a cool, frosty one isn't like having a plate of broccoli.
I didn't know exactly how much. I knew it was a lot of sugar, more than you probably should take in one sitting, one beverage.
I always knew, like, the empty calories, as they say, but I just didn't care, and so it just wasn't, I didn't care. But yeah, no, I was aware of how much calories and sugar was in it.
But what they may not know is that sugary drink consumption in our country, and in fact worldwide, has led to health havoc of alarming proportions. Sugar-loaded drinks are the #1 source of added sugars in the American diet and the single largest contributor to the obesity epidemic. As a result, preventable type 2 diabetes rates, even among teenagers, are through the roof.
All the epidemiological studies show consuming added sugar or sugar-sweetened beverages is associated with increased risk of disease.
Dr. Kimber Stanhope is a lead researcher at the University of California, Davis. She and her team have spent the past decade and a half studying the effects of liquid sugar.
It is very difficult for somebody who has gone their whole life eating a high sugar diet and they're still feeling fine to instantly believe that sugar could have adverse effects.
Problem is, Dr. Stanhope says, our bodies did not evolve to deal with the daily sugar jolts we're giving them when we consume sodas and other sweet drinks.
When you have a big gulp, that is an awful lot of fructose for the liver to have to deal with at that given moment.
And what's a system to do with too much sugar?
All you have to do is look at our bodies. We turn it into fat.
So check this out. Here's what happens when you dump liquid sugar into your body. Within 20 minutes of downing a soda, the sugar in it causes a spike in the amount of sugar in your blood. That quick surge in blood sugar overwhelms the body's ability to use all the sugar you just gave it, so the liver converts it into fat for storage. The result over time and continued consumption?
It's the fat around the internal organs, around the liver, around the kidneys, that is associated with increased risk for cardiovascular disease and diabetes.
Informing people about the science behind liquid sugar's unique effect on our body's metabolic systems is a critical first step in avoiding or stopping the progression of chronic disease.
I think anything we can do that will reduce sugar consumption is worth trying.
It's education that must lead to a change in our sugary drinking habits.
Reprogramming parents to start thinking of sugar the same way they think about birthday gifts or Christmas presents. We have to start thinking about sugar the same way. That no, it can't be, I want that, you get it. It has to be put in the special occasion category.
Because unless we eliminate or drastically reduce the amount of sugary drinks we consume, our communities will continue to see skyrocketing rates of preventable diabetes and other life-threatening health problems, and will most definitely witness the situation get worse.
There are risks related to continuing to eat sugar at the high levels that we eat it in this country. Maybe you're willing to take that risk for your own sake, but can you really make that decision for your children?
That gives you a little bit more of insight. Again, there's so much deception in the food industry. People eat sugar a lot, we like that. Even at church potlucks, it doesn't matter what denominations or what, we always see a bunch of pastries, we see a lot of sugary type items. Soda pops. How much sugar is in a 12-ounce can of soda pop? 10 teaspoons. Imagine me taking a glass of water, 12 ounces, and dumping 10 teaspoons of sugar in it. You wouldn't even think of drinking it. But put carbonation in there, put a little color in there, put a little flavor in there, and then advertise it, and use nice deceptive names like natural, organic, strawberry flavor, watermelon, sounds good. Corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup, another super big deception. And again, other names are used for it. High fructose corn syrup has been implicated to elevate blood cholesterol levels and the creation of blood clots. It's been found to inhibit the action of white blood cells so that they are unable to defend the body against harmful foreign invaders. Fructose browns food 7 times faster than glucose, resulting in a decrease in protein quality and the toxicity of protein in the body. This is due to the loss of amino acid residues and decreased protein digestibility. Fructose reduces the affinity of insulin for its receptor, which is the hallmark of type 2 diabetes. You take sugars, you take high fructose corn syrup, and then you take dairy. It's just a matter of when will you become a diabetic, when will you have a stroke or a heart attack. It's just unreal what is going on in the industry. We did the dairy one, but from Horde Dairy magazine themselves several years ago told us that they have a big problem, and they know that. At that time it was 87%. Now it's 89% of the dairy herds are infected with bovine leukemia. There's a lot of sugar that's in milk. 95% of the cows in the dairy herds in this country have at least one cow with bovine leukemia. #1 killer of little children is leukemia. It's not good products. When you start seeing how we add this, and then people add caffeine to their body, and they put sugar in there, and they put milk in there, or they get lattes, you start getting the picture. Our body can only take so much for so long. But the deception is, I had a soda pop, I feel fine. We get educated. So here's why you should avoid high fructose corn syrup. And I challenge you, you'll find very hard to find products out there that do not have corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup in them. And even the good people spend $4 or $5 for these loaves of bread, these 9 grains or whatever, and they'll have milk in them and corn syrup. You have to read those labels. It's deceptive. You'll see on the front there things, another deception for people, especially when they're trying to diet. They see a label and it says 100% fat-free. And you look at the ingredients in the back and it's 100% olive oil like Pam spray. But the FDA allows, I think it's 50 grams, 50 milligrams. If it's under that, they can call it fat-free. So it's 100% olive oil, which is 100% fat. So now you have to look at the serving size, and depending on which one you buy, and it says either a 4th or a 3rd second spray. So that's like, and people don't do that. They spray that stuff all over. So now they think they're getting something with no calories, fat-free, and they're just filling up with fat. So let's see a little bit on what the fructose, the corn syrup, does to us. Mercury in corn syrup. We went and looked at supermarket samples where high in fructose corn syrup was the 1st or 2nd ingredient on the label. Dr. Wallinga, a food safety researcher and activist at the nonprofit Institute of Agriculture and Trade Policy, said 55 different foods, including barbecue sauce, jam, yogurts, chocolate syrup. We found about 1 out of 3 had mercury above the detection limit. More of them had more mercury than that, but they have laws of how much we're supposed to have. We don't want any excess mercury. And my understanding that mercury gets into the corn syrup by the way they have to process it. So the dangers of high fructose corn syrup. Let's look at this little video, and we're just about ready to close up after that. Sound comes up in a minute.
Well,
Most people think of sugar as the white stuff we use on cereal and in baking. But there's another major sweetener that isn't found in a bowl. It's found in many foods and drinks instead. And as Galen Tethrow reports, it could be hazardous to your health.
With Hannah Montana cereal on the market, kids may pester their mothers to buy it. But should moms give in and buy a product laden with corn syrup? What we know as table sugar used to be king. Then this tasty syrup flooded the market. Medical doctor Dana Flavin.
It tasted good, it was sweet, it was a good substitute, an inexpensive substitute for sugar, and we didn't have to rely on imports of sugar. We could just go ahead and use the corn syrup.
The government helped make corn syrup an even bigger hit with manufacturers and consumers. Corn subsidies helped make it cheaper. Plus tariffs and quotas doubled the price of table sugar. And high fructose corn syrup has a longer shelf life, a boon for manufacturers. Those advantages led to widespread use from sodas and other drinks to whole grain breads to even mini spaghetti sauces. Cardiologist Steven Sinatra.
It's everywhere. It's in all our foods. And even myself, I struggle and read those labels all the time. And I'll tell you a story the other day when I ate something and there was high fructose corn syrup in it, and I got rid of it immediately.
When the corn syrup wave started, Flavin worked in the foods division at the Food and Drug Administration. For years, she had no concerns about the sweetener until she needed research for an article.
I was floored because I didn't want to believe it. And I'm a toxicologist from FDA and a physician, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is ridiculous, it's just corn syrup. I wish it were just corn syrup and just that simple. It's much more complicated.
Flavin and Sinatra think excessive table sugar and corn syrup are both bad. But they say recent research shows corn syrup is worse. The reason is unclear. But it appears that the manufacturing of corn syrup makes it chemically different than table sugar. Another problem with high fructose corn syrup is the fructose itself. The body processes fructose more slowly than other sugars. In the liver, the body turns fructose into fat rather than burning it for energy.
And so you start developing what they call fatty liver. Now, fatty liver can later on start changing also into a less effective liver that's not functioning properly.
A fatty liver encourages weight gain. Flavin says fructose compounds obesity by increasing hunger.
And this is the problem. So you do eat more, and then you have a greater appetite because your body's saying, I haven't had enough. And your body's being fooled, essentially, by a whole chemical imbalance.
Sinatra, the cardiologist, says in that same process, insulin, the body's sugar manager, goes haywire.
High fructose corn syrup is very sweet. It elicits an insulin response. And when it happens, remember, insulin is the #1 risk factor for cardiovascular disease.
That means deadly strokes and heart attacks. And of course, insulin problems are at the heart of diabetes and all its health complications. A study of diet and this type of diabetes over past decades found increased corn syrup consumption and less fiber intake helped increase type 2 diabetes by a factor of 20. Flavin worries about what's happening to the nation's children. Kids and teens consume more corn-sweetened soft drinks than any other age group, and that makes them much more likely to develop diabetes. The fructose in the corn syrup interacts with the carbonation to form substances called carbonyls. Carbonyls are not only toxic, but have been linked to cell damage, leading to diabetes in children. For children born in 2000, the lifetime risk for developing type 2 diabetes is 30% for boys and 40% for girls. Sinatra says most doctors don't recognize high fructose consumption as the cause of health problems in adults. Instead, they treat symptoms like high blood pressure or high cholesterol as diseases in themselves.
He or she may prescribe drugs when only the best treatment is loss of weight, exercise, and restriction of simple carbohydrates, sugars. And high fructose corn syrup is at the top of the list.
Flavin says we can't ignore the degradation to our health.
When you start seeing these changes over time, and you start seeing this in the animal models, and then you start seeing the American population becoming more and more obese and more diabetes, we really need to start reevaluating this.
Experts say any fructose in your diet should come from eating whole fruit, in moderation. But for optimal health, put a lid on the sugar in general and stay away from the most dangerous kind of sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Galen Tethrow, CBN News.
Well, folks, you've got a set of eyes. You have to read things. My wife comes back from the grocery store and I say, honey, have you read the label of what you just brought? Well, no, I didn't see that. You know, because they hide it way down in there.
Exactly. But I'm sorry.
Well, you come up 2 or 3 times. It'll say sugar, then it'll say high fructose corn syrup, then it'll say something else, and it's all be the same thing.
But you know what's so deceiving is the fact that, say you go to the store, you want some just wheat bread. Wheat bread is healthy, right? Because it's not the white bread. You got syrup in there too. Yeah.
It's all over. You must read the labels.
Yeah.
And, you know, we started something, what I understand, having to do with MSG. And now the soup companies are fighting each other who has less MSG. Well, good for them. We've got to have people fighting each other as to who has the least high fructose corn syrup. It's deadly. Is this the cause of the obesity epidemic in the United States? Very possibly so.
As we can see how dangerous it really is. It's how many people do you think understand that's what sugar does to the body? We just don't think, yet we know that the body is fearfully and wonderfully made. We're all built different. You know, it's like some people, they start getting tipsy on 3 beers. There's others that drink 5 and it doesn't even seem to bother them, but soon you drink enough, you all get tipsy. The same thing with this sugar. Again, I want to show you, this is a 4-pound bag. So the average American, that's most people out there, even when you're on what you think is a good diet, are consuming 49 bags of this a year. That's a lot of sugar. And that's not even counting fructose corn syrup and stuff. I mean, it's a wonder we're all not diabetics. You have to read those labels. And whether it says corn syrup or high fructose corn syrup, same difference. It messes the body up. And it will be a challenge for you if you read labels to find stuff without it in there. You're paying higher prices, a lot of people are, for these breads that are in the advertising, say 9 grain this or this. Read the labels, because most of those have corn syrup in it, high fructose corn syrup. And as they just mentioned, they put that in there, and then they put regular sugar in there, and then you'll see maltodextrin, and you'll see all these other names for sugar. It's all hidden. That's a lot of sugar. Can you imagine 153 pounds? That's a lot of sugar. And every time someone drinks a little 12-ounce soda pop, they just put another 10 teaspoons of sugar in their body, and you wonder why the pancreas gets messed up and why we're diabetics. Up in Alaska, up in the Eskimos and stuff, diabetes didn't hardly even exist at all. Once that pipeline got completed and traffic, and we went up and they started getting our standard American diet, all our chocolate bars, candy bars, now they have a 50% rate of diabetes on a group of people that never had diabetes at all. It's just deadly.
If we quit using all of that, does our liver clean up, or
yes,
stay with our liver forever?
No. We can go through a lot of things, and we do rationalize because we kind of have a replacement mentality in this society. I'm guilty of that, as guilty as a lot of people. But all the science, everything will always come back. You can check it out. It will always come back. The best diet anyone can eat is a whole food, plant-based diet, period. And it's amazing how the body will start fixing itself when you give it stuff. For example, if we say, I give you a pound of candy, be it vegan or whatever, and this or that, you would get sick if you sat down and ate all that. But if we tell you in reverse, quit eating that stuff and then put all these greens in you and all this color of the rainbows in us, and that your body will start healing and producing and give you energy and clear you up. I mean, drinking the proper amount of water a day, that increases energy 17% just by drinking water. 17%, that's proven scientifically. And how much water do we need a day? Well, we take our body weight and we divide it in half. So if you're a 200-pound person, you divide it in half, that's 100. Convert that to ounces, you need a minimum of 100 ounces. And if you're active, they say add 25%. So if you're a busy person, so that basically means a 200-pound person would need a minimum of a gallon of water a day, because when we look at our body, everything is done in a fluid state, and it needs to be flushed out. But just eliminating sugars, eliminate caffeines, your body does repair itself. You'll be amazed. We had a cooking class this last Monday, and a couple of testimonies there were powerful, and I didn't expect the one. And this lady was overweight, went through a special program here, learning about whole food plant diet. She had 5 major issues going on with her. All 5 are cleared up. She just had her blood test a couple of days prior to the cooking class, and she's just excited. Now is on the bandwagon to lose some of that weight. Another one came up there with varicose veins. Her feet were almost black. She's been vegan for 6 months. She showed, you know, the veins, it just, you can't hardly even see them. Her feet are all back to normal color. It's powerful what food can do. But it's an education, and it's hard. And don't feel depressed, because it's made to be addictive intentionally. A lot of foods are addictive. So when you quit them, for the first couple of days, you may have some headaches and some cravings. But once you get through that and drink more water, the addiction part is over. Just like smoking cigarettes. Within 48 hours max, the nicotine it's water soluble. You drink, it's out of your system. The rest is all mental. The mental is a big part. So anyways, that concludes our little thing on sugar here tonight. And again, I just want to encourage people to realize what you're doing to your body, and only each of us individually can take charge of our body. It's not up to a doctor to fix our body or somebody else. We have to learn, again, what we put in our mouth, remember, does one of 2 things. It either feeds disease, right, or it feeds our health. It's that, there is no in between. So hopefully this will help, that you can look at it, and the more people get on the bandwagon and quit eating so much sugar, that will change the industry. Thank you.